Hello and welcome to another episode of Fee's Fresh Take. Today, once again, we have Daniel, the co-founder of SilverCreek. Honestly, Daniel is going to be here every week, so should I continue introducing you?
Yeah, we'll just say I'm with Daniel again. Hello.
Daniel,
Happy
again.
to be here.
So today's episode is talking about why treating data as a product gives organizations a competitive edge. So to set the topic up, I want to make sure that we're on the same line with what data as a product is. And right now, data as a product, it means treating data with the same care and discipline as any other like customer facing data. So it has clear owners, serves specific users, meets quality, and is continuously improved to deliver ongoing value to the business. So Daniel, why do you think this mindset is gaining so much traction right now?
Well, historically, it seems that data has been looked at as an operational efficiency where businesses are like, okay, we're big enough and now we need to start managing data. And it almost seems like a chore or it's something they have to do as a task list. But now we're looking at data as a product. And really what that means is making money and revenue from your data. And what that means is building out data within your product, within your service, within the way that customers interact with your company, whether through an app, your website, how they see metrics. And it's getting a lot of traction because companies are starting to see that they can make money from this and a lot of
Mhm.
money. And not only that, if they don't do this, then their competitors will, and they're going to start to fall behind because clients are expecting metrics, they're expecting things to be happening basically right away. And now with AI and data mixing together and all these new capabilities, AI and data as a product come together to make the customer experience much better as well. So customers are seeing automations happen on their side. That means better service, lower costs, all kinds of things go into data as a product. So I'm really excited we're talking about this.
And not only externally, but internally as well, data as a product, it creates more alignment throughout the organization. And as you're talking about like making more money for the business, of course that's going to happen, but it also allows like stakeholders and like the executive teams to see what business decisions need to be made.
Exactly. And operationally speaking, it's not just the tech team and the business team, it's two separate identities. I think
Mm-hmm.
now we're seeing more of a merge of the business units coming together to actually create real results from the data and aligning it to business value at all times. It's not just reporting and Excel sheets and metrics. It's how do we drive the business forward? How do we make more money? What does this do within our product? And treating it as such, especially with all the tools and resources with AI and the things that we have at our disposal, it makes it a lot easier and seamless in the organizations. And it's very easy to implement now.
So I like that you started talking about how it's no longer about just like this team, it's about like the business and driving business forward. How does treating data as a product shift the responsibilities of data teams or data engineers?
It's the responsibility of the entire organization because it's not just, hey, IT team or data team, figure this out. It's we're working together and to figure out like a common solution to the overall goal. And before we've seen data being very siloed, and that's
Mhm.
created friction across departments from finance and marketing and sales to operations, whatever it might be. But now with the proper data infrastructure and treating this data as a product, we can merge the data together. We're working from a common starting point, and then that changes the conversation about what does the business need to do to be the most effective, to make the most money, to serve our clients. And it's this merging of IT and business alignment. And I think with all the tools coming that help data people be more effective in their jobs, it gives them more creativity and time and space to actually align to the business goals and objectives. And that is what resonates with the executive team. How are we going to be more efficient? And it changes the conversation from data being a technical debt and problem to a major opportunity that isn't, what am I trying to say? That isn't optional, it's required for success.
No, and I like that you said that. So it's like in a sense, data engineers start to work more like product managers. So yes, they're it's expanding more from just like delivering pipelines and data sets and data ingestion. It's more about owning the data lifecycle, monitoring for issues, and iterating on improvements, creating those stronger partnerships like you were talking about between the data teams and the business stakeholders. And I kind of like the idea. I feel like in disorganized organizations, the data team is brought in last. The business stakeholders are like, we want this product, we want this, we want to go in this direction, and then it gets whittled down, and then they tell the data team, hey, I want you guys to do this. And then they're like, wait, why weren't we involved in the decisions? But a more aligned company with like clear directives and clear goals, they're bringing the data team into these discussions. They're creating this partnership where business team understands the importance of the data team. I mean, all companies understand the importance, but I don't think they necessarily treat the data team as that important. It's kind of like the byproduct, like the guys down there who end up doing whatever they say because they have no choice because someone else promised that they can make this deliverable even though they never said that they could. So I like that you mentioned it. And what are some of those like practical ways that you've seen organizations build those internal alignment?
What you said was a key word, ownership, and
Mm-hmm.
being able to align the teams together, that it's not just an afterthought, that it needs to be something considered proactively. And I think once everyone takes ownership and they realize from a mindset standpoint that the data is the product and it's the key for their organizational success and it's key for them to making more money, people tend to start working together in a more productive way because
Mm-hmm.
we're starting with a different mindset that it's not just data as a byproduct or data exhaust. It's if we don't get this right, we're not going to be successful. And it just encourages and necessitates teamwork to make it happen.
No, I like that you said that ownership. As long as an organization defines clearly the ownership for every single like data product, it eliminates the confusion of like who owns what. I have worked for companies where someone will ask a team who obviously owns that product supposedly, and they're like, oh, we don't do that, go over there. And it's just like pointing fingers to try to get things done. It's disorganization. Like once you understand like who owns what, it completely eliminates that confusion. And then you can start like creating this like shared catalog or discovery where all teams can easily find and understand available data assets. And it's it's just like acts as a bridge, honestly. And it's so exciting when I see teams who can actually like who have just shifted their culture and have those bridges instead of just like honing in on whatever silo that they were previously in. Like that shift in culture is so important.
And another key word that you mentioned is teams.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, everyone has ownership, but they have ownership of their particular portion with a clear vision and clear metrics about what's required, the deliverables. And we're working together to make that happen and to connect the different departments. And that's what requires like a team type captain or leaders to help
Mm-hmm.
organize all the different departments because each of those departments have their own initiatives, their own
Yeah,
things they have to manage. And so this is all like a connecting thing across all the different departments is the data, is AI, all that working together is going to require a lot of cultural shift. And that's why it's
for
not
sure.
just the technical delivery of technology and process. It's really the people working together and a cultural mind shift to drive this forward as a priority. And once that happens, you can kind of alleviate a lot of the political bureaucracy and things like that that have been barriers to achieving success before because it often seems like, oh, there's just so much to do that it's overwhelming. And then each department takes just a small piece of it and it doesn't really drive success forward. It requires all of these units working together. And that's kind of where Silver Creek comes in to help
Yeah.
drive everything coherently, consistently, and effectively forward in an easy type approach.
No, I completely agree. And what would your advice be to those data leaders or companies starting to adopt data as a product?
Well, to not get overwhelmed, to take a big, deep breath first and
Start small.
realize you can break a giant goal into a lot of little steps. And so our
Mm-hmm.
approach is to identify, after understanding the current state, what's the top value use case that we could achieve most easily with the least amount of resources and the lowest cost. And this is a way to get started on proving out a concept and then delivering very big results with low investment. And then from there, you start to see 10x returns and things like that to grow from different departments and to work with a team to help you figure it out. But
Yeah.
regardless of how you do it, break it down into small steps, focus on the top value use case, and see how you can get the organization working together cross functionally to get big things done. And it usually starts with one use case. And that's what we
Yeah.
focus on.
All right, and we're running up on time, so I'm gonna do my closing fresh take. I personally think that we've reached a point where companies must realize that data is not just like an exhaust from like business processes. It's a living, breathing product that requires design, delivery, maintenance, and customer satisfaction, whether that is external or even your internal teams. And just like any good product, if you ignore the user experience, and that includes accessibility, so like the documentation, the quality, aka like accuracy, and the usability of the data, because like you have to find a use case for it. Like you were saying earlier, like no one will want to buy it internally or even externally. And it's even more powerful in numbers. So imagine a company where marketing, customer support, sales, finance, and the product teams all are pulling their data from a single source of truth instead of working in the silos. Imagine the speed and the alignment and the confidence in business decisions like across the line.
On point.
And that's it for this episode of Fee's Fresh Take. Thank you so much, Daniel. I'll see you next week.
My pleasure.